in the squadron. They called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, we are back. I am confident in the war's progression. I am, actually. I know we can adapt. I know these streets of Hormuz, we've been worried about them for 100 years. We can figure this thing out. They only have so many drones, okay? Yes, we've degraded their nuclear, we've degraded their missiles, and we're working on the drone situation. These drones are tricky. You can fire them from basically anywhere in Iran to hit a boat in the Persian Gulf. You don't have to be like on the beach. That's something I erroneously thought. No, they're almost like a fire and forget weapon. You tell it where to go, and it's going to go there. And it can kind of pivot along the way and make course corrections, and it takes almost no gas. It's not that impressive looking. It's like literally like a flying lawnmower. Now, there are people I respect who are getting a little bit nervous, and one of them, I want to go through this again, is Newt Gingrich. He's a great big student of history. Now, he doesn't get it all. He's not always right, okay? He was a big proponent of the first Iraq War, and he's super duper smart, all right? And I think what he says here is it alarmist? Maybe a little bit. Let's go ahead, if you don't mind, okay? The Newt Gingrich, if you don't mind. Here he is with our good friend Larry Kudlow. Hit it.
Look, there are three huge challenges that this administration has tackled. The first is that, and they should have frankly moved on this on day one, they have to keep the Strait of Hormuz open.
Yes.
I don't care what it costs. If they can't keep it open, this war will in fact be an American defeat before very long, because the entire world, including the American people, will react to the price of oil if the Strait stays closed very long. So I lived through this with Reagan, as you did, in the late 80s. Keeping the Strait open is the number one job because it buys you time for the two other jobs. The second job is we're going to discover that the Revolutionary Guard is tougher than we thought it was, better connected, and have at least 200,000 people who are true believers, and they have no future. I mean,
right.
Trump can say unconditional surrender.
Right.
These folks know if they lose power, they have no future. And the third challenge is, how do you arouse and organize the street, the 85 million or so people in Iran who do not want the current regime, but they're unarmed, they're unorganized, and that has to be solved. These three problems are going to decide whether this was a stroke of genius or, frankly, a step into quicksand. And I think that the president has to focus very hard on solving these three issues.
Okay, what do we think, huh? Yeah, I think also he's trying to get President Trump's attention, which, quite frankly, he always does when he's on television. Half the time when he's on TV, he's either telling you what President Trump told him or what he wants President Trump to consider. Carlos, if you don't mind, because I want people to consider what we're dealing with in Iran. There are very sophisticated, interesting, fun-loving people there who desperately want a new way of life, who would love it if these crazy mullahs and ayatollahs were moved along, demolished, ended somehow, so they can get on with having a thriving society and being a member of the global community. Not in a bad way, not globalist, but actually part of the system. Instead, well, they have to deal with this crazy theocratic, I should say, government, right? Theocracy, that religion, the government falls under the religion. We don't have that here. Even though God is supreme, that's not how our government operates. Are you ready for that, if you don't mind? Okay, this is one of the most prominent Iranian clerics. It's not the new Ayatollah, but he's right up there. He's a deputy, and it's very interesting. He'll be speaking in Farsi. I may have to do some quick interpretation, okay? Go ahead, please. 3, 2, 1, go. Like cows and sheep, God created them so we people have food. God created one more type of animal, and that is women. They're just like cows and sheep. They are animals. God has only created them for men to use. But God created these women to look like human so that they wouldn't frighten the men. Aside from that, women are just like cows, sheep, horses, and mules. Wow. Why doesn't Mika Brzezinski freak out about that one? I don't think that's particularly fashionable or chic, that kind of attitude. But that's who's running the show right now. Although there's not much of a show to run, is there? I still say this thing is going to be over by the end of next week. All right, please. Hey, one other thing. Marco Rubio, how many jobs does he have? Is he still the National Security Advisor and the Secretary of State? It's amazing how our government has been usurped by one branch, the judicial branch. It's the executive branch that is in charge of executing the laws, right? Executing the laws. And the law clearly says that somebody who's issued a green card that literally has the Secretary of State's signature on it, it can be revoked for essentially any reason. On the whim of the Secretary of State, on the whim of the president. This guy, Mahmoud Khalil, is a borderline terrorist taking over streets in New York, yelling and screaming about, destroy Israel and the rest. He made himself into a public menace, and we want him out of the country. Instead of that, a judge said he must stay, and Zoran Mamdani had him over for dinner the other night. All right, Marco Rubio, your reasoning on this issue is amazing. Marco is very special. I noticed, some people in the administration, they talk and you're like, wow, that guy's really smart. With Marco, you think that, but your big takeaway is, wow, he's got a point. And thinking somebody has a point is more powerful than thinking somebody is really smart, right? It's all about, somebody's impressive. This is about getting things done and moving, shaping your opinion. Cut 20 if you don't mind, cut 20.
And if you tell us when you apply for your visa, and by the way, I intend to come to your country as a student and rile up all kinds of anti-Jewish student, anti-Semitic activities. I intend to shut down your universities. If you told us all these things when you applied for a visa, we would deny your visa. I hope we would. If you actually end up doing that, once you're in this country on such a visa, we will revoke it. And if you end up having a green card, not citizenship, but a green card as a result of that visa while you're here in those activities, we're going to kick you out. It's as simple as that. This is not about free speech. This is about people that don't have a right to be in the United States to begin with.
Thank you, Marco. One day he will be president of the United States. Artificial intelligence, maybe it's me. I'm not having that much luck with it. People say it's so great. I think I'm better off writing just by hand almost. So I'm writing this big essay about Bill Stevenson, my buddy, who is in jail right now, suspected murder charges. And I've used AI to help me with it, but it's like you fix one problem and it creates another. And then you got to fix that. It's very much like, what's that game? Whack-a-mole, right? It's all over the place. And it's very tough to, I don't know. I really do think it would be less time consuming if I just sat down with a pen and paper and wrote the damn thing. The other day I was writing it and the power went out, and I haven't had that situation since the 90s, when the power went out and you lose all your content. That happened to me with AI. AI doesn't remember anything. And it's something else. Artificial. And by the way, I subscribe. I subscribe to Grok. I subscribe to ChatGPT. I pay these guys money. It remembers nothing. I don't know. I think it just might be a whole mess of hype. Certain things I don't think it's ever going to be able to do. And I've been using it now for about 3 years. And I don't see the improvement that everybody else talks about. I think the damn thing is, I don't know. Don't worry about it, at least for now. I do want that driverless car, and that could be coming soon, and that will be a game changer. All right, so this is Ramadan time at City Hall, right? Ramadan time at City Hall. They have a great big, let's see here. As my friend Eric Daughtry puts it, Ugandan Mayor Mamdani is being accused of selecting pro-Islamic content creators specifically to promote and spread Islam in America using New York City's City Hall. Everyone's on a blanket. Everyone's on a rug, like a Persian rug, sitting down Indian style in like the main rooms of City Hall. eating with their fingers. What the hell is that all about? Go ahead.
I got invited to have dinner with the mayor. Zohran Mamdani is the first mayor to host the iftar in his office, and it was honestly so wholesome. When we arrived, the room was decorated with these beautiful carpets. We all sat down, took off our shoes, and prepared to break our fast. I personally do not like dates, but of course the mayor gave it to me, so I had to try it. The conversations at this iftar was truly so wholesome. We spoke about our families, our Eid traditions, our favorite meals, and our goals for the rest of Ramadan. I participated, but not too much because that food was too good for me to put down. Me and him had a little one-on-one conversation about the rent prices in New York, and he said he's gonna put it down. JK, he didn't say that, but he definitely should. We became besties after, and then finished off the night with taking pictures, content, and etc. And honestly, a huge shout out to our amazing mayor. I really wish you guys were there. We felt like a family. Everything was so thoughtful and wholesome. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him, and I hope to be back here next year.
Tell me why I got invited to an iftar hosted by Mayor Mamdani. At this point, my side quests just keep getting more random. But you bet I dropped everything to head to City Hall where the iftar was taking place. Zohran's team brought together a bunch of creators to join him for iftar. And I am actually a fangirl for him. Like, I can't believe this man is real. I low-key thought he was AI because he's too jolly and charismatic for a New Yorker. This man catered a massive spread of classic South Asian food, and you can tell he loves us. Then dinner turned into intentional conversations about Ramadan and what this month means to us. My favorite part was hearing from creators who don't practice Islam but have secondary knowledge through their friends. It's so beautiful when we share traditions without judgment, because that's what New York is. We are the most diverse place on this world, and I'm so grateful to call this city my home, with a mayor like Mamdani.
So he's not that charismatic. He only turns on the charm for those stupid videos, right? The rest of the time, you can see it in press conferences and elsewhere. It's not really that captivating. He's kind of dull, actually. Trump to draw 172 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Huh. All right. The next 48 hours are a bit of a reset, okay? And I hear we're going to come out with a certain new tool that will defang these crazy drones that are coming at those ships. Those pictures are a little bit creepy, but there's more going on, and we can't lose our nerve. Is that fair? Don't lose our nerve on this one? It's too easy. You know what? We're still a little bit battle-scarred. Some of us are still freaked out by Afghanistan and Iraq and all the lies, we were told for so long. I understand. I understand everything with her, especially her. Hey, one other thing. If your schedule is so open that you can show up for a scavenger hunt, maybe you don't have enough going on. You know, those in the conservative world, generally speaking, have things going on. They have family obligations. They have interests. They have, maybe they work. Maybe they're just busier than liberals. Liberals live for politics. And here they go. Zohran Mamdani announces, put down everything and show up for a scavenger hunt. And that's what people did. I mean, he said show up, and they showed up. Cut 14.
I have something to hide. Many things, in fact, because we're doing a scavenger hunt. No. Actually, we are doing a scavenger hunt across New York City tomorrow, Sunday, August 24th, starting at 2 p.m. Here's how it'll work. You'll solve a series of clues all related to a very particular theme in New York City history, each of which will take you to the next location.
All right, sounds like something for kids. Sounds like an Easter egg hunt or something like that. 45,000 lost souls showed up. Cut 15.
Thousands of Zohran Mamdani supporters took to the streets on Sunday. They were taking part in a scavenger hunt. The hunt was part walking tour, part history lesson with clues leading to landmarks named after former New York City mayors.
Silly on a Sunday, but a lot of folks, you know what I mean? It's all about politics. They're so secularized. And, so it's a disadvantage for us, but it's also a wonderful advantage. But we have to be more active. Media and Democrats slam Pentagon for spending the millions on the steak and lobster. Anything. You can name it. You know what else they spent a lot of money on? Fritos, Cool Whip, Dairy Queen. Anything the Pentagon touches, the bill is going to be massive. It is the definition of fake news. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Ooh, I got a report here that John Cornyn is feeling the heat and getting very, very nervous, getting very, very weird. Yes, Joe. Hello, the Mount Sinai Joe.
Hello, Greg. How are you this morning? This afternoon, I should say. Listen, I'm going to give you an opinion that's probably not very popular, but I support Israel in this war. I think they should do whatever they have to do to protect themselves. But I question, why do we have to subsidize everything about them, and their citizens get free health care? Their citizens get free education, college education. Why are we subsidizing them like this? I don't understand.
I don't know anything about what you're talking about in terms of free health care and free, education. Whether they do or they don't, I don't care. I love Israel. They are our dearest ally, and we're working together right now, and I think it's amazing. That's how I feel. Their pilots are great. Their military is fantastic. They work very well with ours, and there's a commonality here. The mission is important, and gosh, what else could you want? Let's face it, no one's falling all over themselves to cooperate with America right now, aside from the Israelis. So I'm not going to nickel and dime over, I don't know, what do they got over there? Free community college? I don't care, Joe. I don't care. Okay? Okay. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Joe T is on standing by. Joe T, what is it? The one in New Jersey.
How are you, Greg?
Good.
Yesterday you played an excerpt from Mondani on how he grew up in New York and with different ethnic beliefs, this and that. But it was the last line that he said that I couldn't find it anyway yesterday. How it's all worth it because in the end, there's the bigger picture. Like, I mean, to me, that's like, yes, the takeover of the Islamic religion. It was pretty creepy. I couldn't find it to hear it again.
You heard it on my show?
Yes. Yes.
I'll go look at it again. One thing that I noticed is he contradicted himself because he's always saying like so many Muslim New Yorkers know what it's like to be described as the other, to have a finger pointed at you, and to be worried about your father and to be checked at the airport. But then I heard him say, growing up in New York, we really weren't that concerned about where you were from. It didn't matter, right? We were New Yorkers, which is true, by the way. Like he pretends that he was victimized or ostracized. He's mayor because he's Muslim, right? But he weeps and cries. I appreciate it, Joe. I'm going to try to find that out, okay? Stand by. I think my boss is coming on the air, and nobody knows the world like John Catsimatidis. Stay with us.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We are back with John Catsimatidis, the owner of WABC and Red Apple Media and that great big gigantic energy company and real estate and so much more. This man makes the world go round, helps make it go round. John, welcome back. How are you?
Well, Greg, thank you for having me. And the whole thing is, like I say to people, you know what I say to people? WABC is our smallest company that we have, but I enjoy it the most because growing up, Walter Cronkite was like the number one person that everybody agreed and everybody liked and everybody trusted what he had to say. And where we are in media today, whether it's CBS, NBC, or ABC, or the BBC, nobody believes anybody. I mean, President Trump has sued the BBC, what was it, $10 billion or something, and then he sued 60 Minutes or CBS for another $10 billion. But here at WABC Radio, we want to tell the truth, and we're obligated. I tell all our people, all our hosts, tell the truth.
And he won, by the way. By the way, it's an enormous privilege, and thank you. He sues and he wins, which is almost unheard of. I mean, he's really being maligned.
Well, what they did to the BBC and what they did at CBS, they actually edited out to change the meaning. I understand about editing in media, where if I cough, okay, maybe they're going to edit out the cough. I understand stuff like that. But to change and change the meaning of the paragraph by editing, that is wrong. That's where the $10 billion goes to Trump, because you can't change the meaning. Edit it and change the meaning. You want to take out the coughs. You want to, if you blew your nose, you want to take that out. Fine. but you can't change the meaning of what the intent of the paragraph was.
And when they do, and you can't get the truth, it's a dangerous situation. Now, look, overall, this situation, Iran, major combat operations, the Strait of Hormuz, energy prices. I saw one guy, I think he's panicking, like, oh, energy prices is $300 a barrel if we don't get out of this thing soon. And then others.
Wait, how did Trump say it?
No, he didn't say it. Trump said. Well,
no. I'm going to say how Trump said it. I mean, I don't know if he has it on the board. They're full of crap.
So everything's under control?
Everything's under control. The Trump has managed to unify the Saudi Arabia with the all the Emirates, and who has ever done that before? Europe. Even though they objected against Trump originally, they realized, America has saved Europe in World War I. America has saved Europe in World War II, and America is here to help Europe with that Greenland situation. Maybe the President Trump was a little bit off the way he asked or the way he said it, but that's because President Trump is more of a businessman than a politician. He's not a diplomat. He says it like a businessman. He says it the way it is. Whether it's full of crap or whatever. And my Canadian friends said that, why do you say you want to make Canada a 51st state? I said, you have to understand President Trump. He didn't really mean it, in my opinion. He didn't really mean it. He's going to make it a 51st state. But that's his nature. That's the way he says things. Because he's a businessman first and a politician second.
So the Strait of Hormuz, people are panicking about that. Newt Gingrich, who I know and love, I know you love, he's like, if this thing doesn't get opened, the war is over and we lost. And I just can't think it's that extreme yet. We're not there yet. So what happens and how bad is it right now with this?
Right now, the Strait of Hormuz has to open. But the other thing that has to open is the Red Sea. We've been going around the Cape of Africa for a year, 2 years. So we got to take care of terrorism. We're in it right now. We're in it to win. I believe that it's going to be another couple of weeks. So it'll be total less than 30 days. But at the worst case scenario, it'll be less than 60 days. Now, when people say to me, oh, the price of oil, it's going to hurt the economy. Well, you know what I say? Under the previous administration, President Biden, guess what? It was 4 years, 48 months. So please out there, forgive President Trump for 1 month or 2 months versus you didn't care that much about that President Biden was screwing us in the price of gasoline for 48 months.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Hey, real quick, a barrel of oil, I think I saw a price, $88. Is that right? 88?
Yes.
And when I think barrel, I think of a barrel, but they don't.
A barrel is 42.5 gallons.
And they don't keep
That
it.
is when you put a barrel of oil, crude oil, in, we own a refinery. You take a barrel of crude oil and you put it into the refining system. It comes out to about 42.5 gallons, maybe 43.5, because you turn the heavy products into lighter. You change the molecules. So you come up with about 42, 43 gallons.
From what?
From 1 gallon. Well, a barrel of oil, 42.5.
Refined oil?
Refined oil, maybe after you refine it, and all the 43, 44. And depending on how much jet fuel, which is a lighter product, versus heavier products.
And we don't keep it in barrels, right? They don't keep it in barrels.
No, well, it's just a way
of
expression.
It's a way of
measurement.
measurement. Okay, how do we get into the oil? How did you get into the oil business? Is that something?
Well, it was 1983, 84. I was running an airline. I was running a Capital Airlines, which was the, 9th, 10th, 11th largest carrier in the country. We had DC-8s, we had DC-10s, we had Airbuses, and I got to fly some of them sometimes.
Very cool.
I remember flying that DC-8. Not with passengers. I flew it on maintenance runs, and with 4 engines and DC-8s, and just me and the pilots, we go up 10,000 feet a minute. I don't know how fast do you go up on those jets in Afghanistan?
Harrier jet could go about 10,000 feet a minute at its best.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild ride.
It's a pretty wild
ride.
The
DC-8, though, is so long. I remember seeing those on the ground, long and slim.
You had 268 passengers, 4 engines. So even if you lost an engine, nobody feels it.
Want to get you, and look, we have to do business with the people that are in office and all that kind of stuff. Maybe let me ask you this. How worried are you about terrorism right now? All this noise about sleeper cells, and California is possibly any second going to be hit by drones. I worry about New York. That's all misinformation. They're coming to New York. Are you, is that on your radar?
New York is on my radar. California is on my radar. We talk to a lot of the, intelligence people. Listen, you always have to worry. But remember my expression on the last interview you saw with me and Stuart Varney at Fox. Trump takes no prisoners. Somebody does something against the United States of America or against our people, he will level them.
Yeah.
No prisoners. Level them. So the Strait of Hormuz, we have to open it up. And if the Hezbollah that has been holding Beirut hostage. Beirut used to be the capital, the financial capital of that end of the world. And Hezbollah has been holding them hostage. Get rid of all terrorist groups. And I think we're committed. I think President Trump is committed. And I don't understand why the Democratic Party, he takes the side of the criminals and the terrorists versus taking the sides of the United States of America, our citizens. Why?
One thing we may have to do is steel ourselves, prepare ourselves for casualties. And we take casualties.
Crap happens.
Crap happens.
We don't want casualties, but we're going to make the free world free. Yeah. And let me tell you something. Once you make the free world free, under President Trump's administration that ends in 2028, it's gonna. If they want to make if they want the free world to be unfree, like the communism or China or Russia, it's gonna take them 10 to 20 years. So what President Trump is accomplishing, not only to 2028, maybe till 2040, 2050.
And tell me if you don't mind on the way out, President Trump is playing like 3D chess here, and he's learned from history. So he's got something going with Putin and with China that Franklin Delano Roosevelt did not understand, even at his finest. What can you describe that to me, please?
Well, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, World War II was his fault. His Pearl Harbor was his fault. He squeezed the Japanese. Whether it was intentional or out of stupidity or out of accidentally. Because some people said, well, he did that to use it as an excuse to get into World War II and help Europe. They did say that. So Franklin Delano Roosevelt squeezed the testicles of Japan and gave them no oil. And Japan figured they had no choice but to attack Pearl Harbor. That's why Pearl Harbor happened. With President Trump, knowing history, what did he do last week? Last week he said, China, we know we took back Venezuela, and we know we're screwing up your supply of oil. China needs 11 million barrels a day. They're getting a lot from Russia, but they needed Iran or Venezuela. You know what President Trump said to China? We're going to give you all the oil you need. We're not going to squeeze you out of oil.
America is.
America is, or cause it to be given through Iran or through Venezuela or whatever. We're not going to squeeze you on oil. And what does that mean? That means a good talking relationship between China and Trump and the United States of America, between Putin and Trump. And you know what that means? World peace. China is not going to start a world war. Trump, Russia is not going to start a world war.
Makes total sense. But real quick, how does he placate Putin in all of that? I understand China. How does he tamp down on Putin?
Because Putin knows Trump is not going to go directly against Russia, and it comes down to a negotiation. And I think I hope Putin respects Trump, and he knows not to push Trump because Trump is not going to take any prisoners. You know?
I get it. I think our guys got it all figured out. You and Trump. Seriously.
Well, and we know each other a long time, so he knows what I'm thinking. I know what he's thinking sometimes.
It's pretty amazing. John Catsimatidis, we'll see you tonight at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock with Katz and Cosby.
It's a great show.
And we have some we have John Fetterman coming on.
No way.
We have Kevin McCarthy coming on. We have a great show again tonight.
You know, you never know what's going to happen in life.
Would you believe we have a John Fetterman coming
It's great.
on?
It's great. And he's
he's a decent person.
He's turned out to be a joy in a way. You know what I mean?
Common sense Democrat. We love our common sense Democrats.
Nuts.
We don't mind arguing, but let's sit at the same table and come up with what's good for America.
He's a patriot, and I look forward to that. John Catsimatidis, thank you. Thank you, everybody. We'll be right back. 800-848-9222.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
What's that?
Is he going to shoot us?
Is what going to shoot us?
The bullets that are coming.
No, they're not going to hit us.
Why?
Because they're far away.
Oh, is it in the Middle East?
It's in the Middle East. Yes, very good.
But why is there's a Middle East here, and why is it in Australia?
No, it's not in Australia.
Oh, I know it. Is in Israel.
Closer, yeah.
Melbourne?
No, Israel.
That's where my Nana lives.
Right.
I can't even hear it.
Okay, baby. What an amazing young girl, huh? Are the bullets going to shoot us? So innocent, right? Worried about war. Maybe I should have not brought it up, but, they're going to find out about it someday. Experts say this flu season is the worst we've seen in years. Either way, you know how this goes. Every year someone in my family gets sick, then everyone gets sick, and suddenly you're fighting to see a doctor or stuck waiting in a crowded urgent care. Not this year. I am ready. I ordered a medical emergency kit, and it's been a lifesaver. My kit is stocked with essential prescription medication, antibiotics like a generic Z-Pak to help you recover faster, amoxicillin for pneumonia, strep throat, and ear infections, plus prescriptions for nausea, UTIs, and yes, even ivermectin is in there. It's simple. Match your symptoms in the guidebook or call the telemedicine doctor standing by. Start treatment early and feel better faster. No waiting rooms, no pharmacy lines. I love my medical emergency kit, and you should get one too. I got you $45 off when you use my code Greg. It's a good deal. Very good deal. Just go to urgentcarekit.com/Greg. urgentcarekit.com/Greg. That promo code Greg. I love these people, and thank you. All right. We have a shooting situation in Michigan near a synagogue, a developing situation. We're hearing that this is a bona fide terrorist attack of some type. And I'm looking at video. I can't tell if there's a fire or an explosion or what. We're getting more information. But something very serious happening at the Temple Israel in West Bloomfield Township, Michigan. Hello, Tim. How are you?
Hi there, Greg. Just to say that I'm a big fan thank you so much for being on the radio and TV. I listen to you every day, and I watch you on Newsmax. I don't know if I can say Newsmax on the radio. I watch you on Newsmax every day, and so does my entire family. We are so appreciative of your talent, your wisdom, and everything. I do have a suggestion, and then I have a question, if I may.
Sure. Thank you.
The suggestion is I would love to hear more of your daughter on the radio like we just did a few seconds ago. But can you also put them on TV? I mean, I've seen them on TV, but if you could do a little bit more.
I would like to. Sometimes people in the audience, they get very skittish. They think they're helping the kids. I get inundated with email. You're putting your kids at risk. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know, I think it's kind of fun, and believe me, no one's going to mess with my kids. I'm armed to the teeth. All right. So I think they're going to be just fine. And I love that. I'll see what I can do. Tim, you're very nice. Thank you so much. Okay. What's the question?
If I may.
Yeah.
I used to work in a sound studio in Puerto Rico. I'm Puerto Rican. I used to work in a sound studio in Puerto Rico, and I just have a question. When you always tell your sound guys, cut 5, cut 3, cut, whatever.
Yeah.
It takes them like 2 or 3 seconds.
It depends what show. It depends what show, and it depends what engineer. Sometimes we got a guy who's on the ball, like Carlos. He's on the ball. Sometimes we have somebody who's, doing 5 other things, right? There's that. But guess what? Funny you should mention this. We're working on a system where I can do it myself. I'd rather just work the board myself. I mean, I need our board ops for certain things, but to play those sound clips, I want to do that. And with Wi-Fi, we're going to have that capability very soon. Good observation, Tim. I appreciate it. Let's try Christopher in Long Island.
Yes, how are you, Greg? First-time caller. I just wanted to bring up the issue that people are not talking about. The United States is the only country in the world that can sustain $100 per gallon of oil. We're a net exporter now. So when money leaves the country, it comes back in. China, this is the master stroke that Trump's done, nobody's talking about. By cutting off Iran, they've cut off 30% of China's oil supply and increased it by 35%, the discount. So China's getting strangled right now. That's why we haven't heard about them. So the idea that everybody's perilous about the price of oil, if you look at the straddles or the futures and you go out to 90 days, the straddles put in a call, the strike price is tightening, which means the market is looking at the oil price getting stabilized and coming down because they believe the U.S. is going to make the straight work.
Okay. All right. I like that. Although, we don't necessarily want to squeeze China right now. You heard what my boss, John, said, right?
Well,
we want them somewhat placated. We don't want an agitated China right now. That could complicate the whole damn thing. I know what you're talking about, but we actually, at another level, we don't want that. Oops, there's the music. I gotta split for a little while, but we will be back. Very interesting stuff, and I don't like what I'm seeing in Michigan. It looks like a terrorist attack at a synagogue. And this would be like, if you add it all up, like the 17th horrible thing that has happened that seems to be coming from an ISIS point of view, if you know what I mean.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?